Hey there, creatives. Welcome back to the design studio, where today I'm going to walk you through all the things you need to do to put together a gorgeous country wreath for Christmas. So this is my first country wreath for 2023. It's just kind of going through those archives and trying to figure out, hey, what else do I need to make sure that I cover so that we're hitting all the bases. So today I'm going to walk you through all the steps, what's required in order to put together a country look for a Christmas wreath. And we want to make sure that those clients are addressed that are looking for those products. So if you like this tutorial and want to have it handy, when you get ready to put together yours, you'll want to make sure that you hit the share button down below. That takes this video and it puts it on your Facebook page where it's so much easier to find. Also, if you guys can do me a favor, if you're not currently already following me or you're missing out on the notifications when I go live, make sure you've done two things. One, that you've liked the page, but also that you've hit the follow button. And Facebook's hidden the follow button, but it's right next to the like button, the three little dots. Click on that, opens up a sub menu, allows you to both like and follow the page. And then once you do that, as long as you're on your device, you should be notified when we go live, which is every Tuesday at 4 Pacific and every Thursday at 11 Pacific. Let me go ahead and get comments pulled up really quick. Here we go. Trying to get there, making sure that we have everything handy. Let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and add my website down below if you're interested in joining my email list. I do send out emails once a week with like tips, great deals on products, things that you can take advantage of for free, and also any tutorials that you might have missed. You can find those in that email, because at the end of every month, what we started to do is just do a, hey, did you miss any of these? These are like a monthly recap for what we have done for that whole month, just in case for some reason you might have missed out on one of those, so you don't miss out on any. Let me pin that and then we'll be ready to go. Hi Audrey from Scotland. Hi Peggy from Jacksonville, Florida. Welcome Irvina. So I'm going to go ahead and pivot the camera down so we can go ahead and get started. Hi Christine, to everyone from the UK. Welcome, welcome. Let's make sure you can see everything. So with Christmas, with the country Christmas theme, you want to make sure that you're kind of like there's an unwritten rule of thumb for what country Christmas color should be. So generally they're more muted. So it's going to be more of a moss green than an evergreen. It's going to have tan instead of white. And then it's going to have a burgundy color or like a rusty red color. So we're using this sign from Personalize It by Pam. This is where I've gotten the inspiration for what we're embellishing it with, the direction of the theme, and just kind of a sense of like what the color palette should look like. So as you can see, when I've wired together my 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame, there is no burgundy because I don't have burgundy pipe cleaners. So we're just going to go with a tan and moss green. I'm going to finish this last of 6 sections on a Dollar Tree frame. We are going in between each weld, wiring together the 2 innermost rings together with our pipe cleaner. So just like that. And then we're going to add 2 to the outside 2 rings. And wire those 2 together using that center inner weld. Try to find a halfway point. It doesn't have to be exact science. Hi Shirley from Kentucky, welcome. And then we're going to do the same on the opposite side. And I always get asked the question, why do you pick colored pipe cleaners? It just looks pretty. Plus it's easier to distinguish. Sometimes if you're doing a mix and match of ribbons, you could just like trend like, okay, the combo of ribbons I'm doing in the green pipe cleaner are going to be this, and then the ones that are in the beige are going to be this. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to match things without having to stop the design process. You're just kind of going on automatic. So, hi, Denise from South Carolina. Welcome. Hi, Shirley from Kentucky, and Diane from Georgia. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to be using a fabric mesh. I always keep this in stock because it's great for those country Christmas designs. It's got our moss, it's got the tan, and it's got that rusty, almost burgundy color. These are cut with a rotary cutter to 20-inch pieces. We are simply going to ruffle and put one in every single one of these 18 pipe cleaners. So we have 6 on the inside, 12 to the outside, grand total of 18. So you're just going to take an imaginary line right up the center, and I'm kind of gathering, and I'm pulling the mesh towards me in about 1/2 inch increments. I'm not doing like whole finger lengths. I'm just kind of pulling it together. We're going to take the finished edges. Finished edges are going towards the inside and the outside, with our raw cut edges towards the sides. And I'm going to be removing my pipe cleaners on the inside only as I go. So I just give them an extra twist. We're going to tuck that little end back down. And I'm going to go ahead and do what I call the next one for the process. You could go through and do all 6 and then go back and do all the 12. It kind of gets a little challenging because you're always having to move, you know, your pipe cleaners as you're putting this one in or putting this one in. So I found that if I just did the next one, I'm not having to play with that mesh that much. And because we rotary cut this, it's still going to have the ability to fray, but hopefully not that much. So this mesh you can find at Craft Outlet. So you see what I'm doing here? I'm pushing away that previous piece of mesh so that I can take this one and lay it directly on top of the other center one. 2 twists, and then this I need to make sure covers our outside or our inside piece. And then because we're joining 2 sections together and we don't have an in-between piece, I just want to make sure that my ends kind of come up and over the next piece so that there is an even coverage. Hi, Maddie. Welcome. Hi, Dawn from Illinois. So now we're going to go ahead and we're connecting our sections. And this is the easiest method to use if you've never done a Deco Mesh wreath before, but always wanted to do one. So again, 2 twists. And on this side, because we already have this here, I always want to make sure I move my pipe cleaner. Number 1, it tells me that section's done. And number 2, it prevents me from, as I'm laying my mesh down, having that pipe cleaner go right through the middle. Hi, Judy. Welcome. Hi, Stacy from Ohio. Judy says, it's been a while for me. Hope to get back to full-time crafting soon. Well, you know, when you're ready, you'll be perfect for that. I find for me that making wreaths or, you know, making things for our home is very relaxing. It's kind of almost therapeutic. So now we're going back to the inside one. So we've got to make sure we get that under the preceding piece. So giving an extra twist because I'm done. Tucking that back down inside. And then we want to make sure this piece goes under our previous outside piece because this is that filler section. So see how that just kind of overlaps nicely. And what I generally do is I will bend the outside pieces where it's cut to help prevent it from fraying as much, but also so that I have access points to the outside ones when I get ready to do that. So again, we're finishing up the last one in that section. So this will go on top of the inside piece. And then remember, it has to be a connection point for the next. So I'm going to push this down so that I can take the next one, place it right on top, 2 twists, and then I'm going to open the right sides so it goes up and over that adjoining section because it doesn't have a midway point. And we're going to make sure that that goes back over our center section, and then just bend those edges back down, connecting so I have access to them, and then we're ready for our next outside piece. Hi Cheryl from Canada. Hi Linda, welcome. It is a cold, frosty morning here in Washington State. No rain today, but just really cold. So currently my shop is sitting at 50 degrees, which is, it's doable, but I have my heaters on just to keep it warm because the shop has concrete floors, so it just really holds that cold in. So sliding to the next one, and then we're getting ready for our inside piece. So I generally will take the tightest ones, the ones that are closer to the end of your roll, and put those in the center rather than put them on the outside. You don't have to, but this way they lay flat because you're putting 2 pieces of mesh on top of them. So I'm always going to push the preceding piece back. Open your pipe cleaner, slide that on in. We're going to twist this because we're done with the inside. Snip the end off. Bring my trash can closer. I was cleaning before I live. So here we go under. This is our inside piece. I'm just picking it up gently so that it goes back over the top, and then we're ready for our additional outside piece. Do you guys make country wreaths, or have you ever made a country wreath? I prefer the country look, so you would think that there would be more country products in my shop, but that I did not realize that I didn't have anything that would fit that genre. And I've had this idea for a bit, so we're just trying to do an awful lot. There we go. So now, connecting piece, make sure you fold it. So I'm taking my, it would be the right side piece as it adjoins into the next section. I'm just laying it above the outside pipe cleaner and below so that it is covered as well. Yes, Cheryl and Diane answered the question. Thank you. Yes, I did cut this with a rotary cutter. And can I say how wonderful it is to cut mesh when you have a brand new blade on? I don't think I realized how easy it is to cut it with a fresh blade. So I just put a new blade on. Actually, I just got a new rotary cutter, which I really like. I found it from Amazon. And super nice, actually. And it comes with an extra blade. So we're giving that one a good old test. Now we're going to the inside. I'm going to grab one of my tighter rolls. I always use something weighted because it always wants to roll back up on itself. So same process, I'm always pulling towards me rather than walking my fingers up the mesh just like that. Nice little bow tie. And push your preceding piece back. Plop that right on the inside. Give it a couple extra twists. And then right where I've twisted it is where I'm cutting that off. Tucking the extra piece down. And then we're going and making sure that our outside piece covers that inside piece, because that's what the inside piece is designed for. Hi Deborah, welcome. So I have some exciting news coming, and I'm sharing it in the newsletter. So if you guys aren't currently subscribed, if you guys could do that by going to countrycreationsandmore.com. About halfway down the page, there's a link to sign up to my email list. Plus, you also get the bow making recipe just for signing up. So that gets emailed to you. Okay, so now we have to connect inside, because we're going to our next section. Lori, the mesh is cut to 20-inch pieces with a rotary cutter, because this is a fabric mesh. Hi Sue, no worries. She said, I'm sorry I'm late. It's actually easy to get caught up at this particular stage. We're doing a Country Christmas Wreath using burgundy colored / rust, tan and moss green mesh that you can get from Craft Outlet. These sell out pretty quick every year. These are cut 18 pieces at 20 inches each. And now we're doing our inside. So I'm going to grab the tighter ones. So generally when I'm designing, a lot of times the sign is generally my theme. So I'm walking around the shop with a sign in my hand, trying to find the things that I think would really fit that design. So I'll show you how close we came to some of the design elements that are in here once we get to our ribbon and also our embellishments. I had that one a little too high into the center. And since this is inside, we want to grab the one before it, slide this underneath, place this back on top, and then we're ready for our outside piece. Do you guys have any questions that I can answer for you? There is no right or wrong way to creating your wreath base. You know, if you want to do all 6 and then go back and do the outside 12, that is entirely up to you, whichever you prefer. We're joining our sections together. So I'm taking that outside piece and making sure we got one above and one below it. There we go. If you guys don't currently already know it, I do have a private group. It offers the best of both worlds. It is business / design. So you get both. And then it has 2 options. You can sign up for monthly, or you can sign up for a yearly rate in which you pay for 10 months and get the next 2 months for free. So we have 3 more pieces left. We have one inside. This is our last inside piece. So we always push away. so we have access to that section. We're going to twist quite a few times. And the only reason I twist quite a few times is I've had it a couple times where I've gone back to add something to the inside, and for whatever reason that has come loose. So now I just reinforce it by making sure that we give it a couple extra twists since we're done and we don't have to do anything else with that. Okay, we are ready for the last two outside pieces. And this, you can use this exact design even if you're using a work frame wreath. So this is going to create a nice country non-glitter look. And we got to squeeze that last little piece in right here. So always just prepare for that. So it just makes it easier once I scrunch it to take it and drop it on the inside. Okay, right in here, right on top. 2 twists. We'll get everything all fluffed out, bent to the corners, making sure we've covered our outside piece. There we go. Everything is all ready, and that is the desired look for the base. So like I said, for those of you that are coming in late, we are using this sign. I'm trying to hold it so there's no glare. It says love is the heart of Christmas. So it's got a lot of country elements in the sign. This is an 8x10, and this is from Personalize It by Pam on Etsy. So now we're going to add our ribbons. So as promised, like I said, using our sign as the inspiration, we are going to be using, let me show you these. We are taking a 2.5 inch moss green, burgundy, and tan 2.5 inch, and this is from Craft Outlet, cut to 14-inch pieces. We're pairing that with this cranberry or burgundy colored with white diagonal stripes. So that's picking up this look here on the outside. Then and that is also from Craft Outlet. We're taking this 2.5 inch, because if I don't incorporate some sort of Christmas element, it kind of doesn't really feel Christmassy, even though these colors match the sign. Them alone does not say Christmas to me. So we're taking this pine on a diagonal with red glitter, Holly Berries Unnatural, and this is from Hobby Lobby, 2.5 inch cut to 14-inch pieces. And we're pairing that with this reindeer, I call it the reindeer sweater because it looks like a sweater print. Reindeers and pine trees. This is from Joann's. The 1.5 inch pieces are both cut to 19 inches. The 2.5 inches are cut to 14-inch pieces. So we are going to take these, we're going to fold them in half to find true center. We're going to gather, and I am going to take and place the green pipe cleaners. This is where I'll make that indication. This is where we're going to go in with this color combination. So I just add my 2.5 inch ribbon, fan the points to the outside. Then we're going to take our 1.5 inch, take our dovetailed ends, bring those together. I'm going to go up about 2 inches and pinch in, literally 2 inches. And then you're going to add that right into our pipe cleaners, give them a couple twists, and then we're going to snip those off. We're going to take the leftover little piece, that's going to go right around the back of our loop. We'll open the loop. We have to right side one part of our 1.5" ribbon. So we're just going to flip that over. And then I like to see both. So I try to find a way to make sure that you can see both pieces of the ribbon. And then we're going to go ahead, and all the beige ones, we're going to pair up that beige holly, I guess, or pine branch piece. Same theory, spreading to the outside, making sure my reindeer, or like if I did it this way, the trees and the reindeer would be upside down on the loop portion. But here, if I do it here, there, when you look at the loop, it's right side facing. And we'll snip that off, tuck the back around, open the loop, right side. It's usually always the left side of the tail. And then I just usually, you can decide which one you like a little bit more. I think I kind of like the little red and white on the outside, so I'm going to make that the predominant ribbon that's featured as we go all the way around the design. And since I started with green on top, you can change that up just to give it a slight variation. So like when I put these in, I did the green up. I'm going to flip this every other one and do it a little bit different. And same thing, straight up and down. Taking our 1.5", 2 inches up, pinch in, place on the inside of our pipe cleaner, give it a couple twists, snip the excess off, and flip that around. Same thing, the right side, the left side, and then we're ready for our next one. Awesome, thank you. So yes, the mesh is from Craft Outlet. If it's not currently available at Craft Outlet, because it is a, what I would call a universal product, anyone who sells wreath supplies, probably all order from the same. So you could check places like the Wreath Shop, you could check Trendy Tree, Deco Exchange, Kringle Designs, White Bayou Supplies, or you could just take a picture of that and put it in your Google search, and Google should kick it back and tell you where you can purchase it from. I've done that quite a few times. When I'm looking for something and I don't necessarily have the item or SKU number, I will use the photo feature in Google to do that search. Okay. We're just going to zip through here. So now we're going green on top. And then we've got our cranberry. I love this color. I love this for fall as well. How many of you have already started decorating your home for Christmas? I'd like to run that brief survey with you guys watching. If you can just comment, I am, or I have. I am usually way ahead by now. I have not started. Which is really odd. My family knows that the minute Halloween's over, I'm like, time to roll out the Christmas stuff. Joanne, this is a fabric mesh. So that's what this particular type of mesh is. It's called fabric mesh. Oh, Cheryl, you've done the outside? We haven't even done the outside. It's like every time a holiday rolls around, or a time rolls around, this one's not a deep enough V for me. I think I was just following the end. It always rains on the weekend. So when Steve's home, oop, we needed this one. It's always raining. So he hasn't been able to get up there and do that just yet. And I think we want to change our lights out. I think we're going LED. So we can attach more light strands. But honestly, the only people who see our house for holiday lights, because it is invisible to the street, are the delivery people, the post office, and us. Let's see. Joanne, what do you mean? Could be where I've been going wrong. Oh, I pay up to £9 for a roll of 10-inch mesh. It frays terribly and looks tacky. Okay, so I'm going to educate you. It doesn't matter what kind of mesh you have. If you, instead of rotary cut it or scissor cut it, get a wood burning tool, wherever, like your local home improvement places there in the UK. Make sure it can go up to 425 degrees, because that's what I cut my mesh at. It just makes it easier and I don't have to wait. But on this particular mesh, you're going to have to rotary cut it, fresh blade. But regular deco mesh that does not contain any like cotton or jute fibers, you can cut with the wood burning tool. And that changes how your deco mesh designs look forever. It's like once I discovered that and realized that as it's cutting, it's melting or sealing that polypropylene. So always make sure you do it where you have good ventilation, but it will forever change. It's like, I don't want to say 0% frays, because stuff always, you know, it snags and then all of a sudden it frays, but I would say it reduces your frays by 95%. You have all those tools, but it still seems to fray somewhat. Like I said, it just depends on the mesh. If the outside edge has what I call like little prickly fingers, like it didn't, like this one does. So occasionally you'll see me pull one of my ribbons, because it gets, it goes into my ribbon and it might catch. So you'll see me kind of gently pull on it. It's just because of the fingers on the mesh. Technique will always determine that too. If you're doing like a ruffle method like this, try doing it the way I showed you here. It's called the next one. That's just what I named it, because I do the very next pipe cleaner. That may help. Okay, so we're doing green on top. Okay, we're coming around the corner. My favorite part of any design, besides the design portion, is embellishing. That's usually my all-time favorite. I love to embellish. Trying to get that in there so it's more straight and not leaning to the right. Around, over. See, and I keep taking my red and putting the red on the outside because I really want that to tie in to the sign border once that's ready to go on. Just a couple more, and then we will be on the home stretch. So I'm going to put this one in, and then I'll grab the burgundy and bring it back to the top. I'm so used to always leaving my pipe cleaners to the outside. I always forget sometimes to cut them off before I move on. Here we go. Seeing if your mesh doesn't want to lay down, just reposition where it's at. So you have those nice connection points. 2 more, 1 of each. So now we're back to tan on the top. It's such a subtle difference. You don't know it, but sometimes those are nice surprises for the clients to discover. This wreath is, by the way, currently available for sale on my website, which is pinned down below. If you would like to purchase it, it's the only one I have. And the thing that I enjoy about this is a lot of the ribbons are discontinued, which makes it really exclusive. Exclusive ribbons, the deer print, the sweater one, because that's from Joann's, right? Yes. And I think this print is still available at Hobby Lobby. Last one. So Sarah has decorated, Christine has not, Cheryl did the outside. Deborah says, not yet, we don't decorate much. Linda says, not till after November. Okay. Jean says, with my husband's health, no outside. I'm not even sure the inside will get done. You know, you do what you feel you need to do, where your priorities are. I've had those years. And now, no matter what goes on, my husband makes sure that we have our home decorated. Because for a very long period of time, I was going through a very rough patch. I had just gotten a divorce. And he made sure that my divorce papers, he wanted to really ruin Christmas because he understood exactly what Christmas meant. This is how you can tell you married a bad person. He had my divorce papers served to me as close as he could possibly get to Christmas, which was the day before, because the courts are closed on Christmas. So during that period of time, I didn't do any decorating. Didn't have a tree, didn't do anything. And it wasn't until I met my current husband, Steve, God brings beauty from ashes, that he made sure. My first year of Christmas, he went out and bought me a little live tree, and then had it all lit with lights and ornaments. It was just a small little one, like a 3-foot tree, but it was in a bucket outside when I came home from work that day. And that was how Christmas came back. So I totally get that. All right, sad story over. But what do you guys think of the ribbon selection? Look what it's going to do to our sign. Look how pretty. It's going to look amazing. We're going to add a bow to it. So with this one in bow preparation mode, we can put the bow on either side because our writing is still in the center. You can put it at the bottom, but then it starts to impact the little bit of the design, which is a country basket with pine trees filled with ornaments, pine branches, berries. We have some metal stars, some bells, and then obviously candles. So we're going to be incorporating those into this design. But we're going to start by making our bow. So where I'm going to use the Bow Dabra. So see, I do have frays, but not a ton. I mean, really, that's all I have. So Bow Dabra, we're getting the same ribbons we just used. And I'm looking, I think I want to do this one on the bottom because those colors are all represented in the mesh. Then we'll do the tan. Not sure which ribbon I want to put on the top yet because I always put something kind of cute. But I have this plaid. So if you look, the bow on the sign, it's the red and tan, but I wanted it more Christmassy, so we're doing red, tan, and green is being introduced, and this is from Craft Outlet. And then we're doing snowflakes, bringing the Christmas back in, white snowflakes on that moss green, and that is from Joann's. But I'm thinking this might be the way I do it. I like that combination, the way that it rolls out. And I always plan my ribbons that are going in the bow in what order so that it just makes that process so much easier. So Joann's, Craft Outlet, Joann's, Craft Outlet, Hobby Lobby, Craft Outlet for the win. So we're going to start here and we're going to do the bow recipe. So we're going to dovetail our ends first, which is bring your wired edges together. You're going to cut from the folded side down through and over to that wired point. And depending upon how deep you want your V's, you know, I like mine pretty deep. I just like it to look like a cut. That's just where your starting point is on your fold. So we're going 10 inches in, right side fabric facing you. We're going to twist. So now we've got wrong side fabric here. We're going to go up and around, and we want 5.5-inch loops, which means that this end here determines where it stops on my cutting mat. So I take my Bow Dabra, line it up on the 10-inch mark, stretch this out. We're at like 6. So I'm going to bring that back until I'm right at 5.5. And this is what makes a good recipe, is consistency. So same thing, line it up. Not quite there. Now we are. We're going to go back out and make sure we're at 10 inches here. Dovetail the end, cutting from the folded side to the wired point. That one is done and down. I don't even have my box. Usually I keep a box here so that when I'm done with the ribbons, I just throw it in a box. And then at the end, I just take the box and go put all the ribbon away. So same thing here, wired edges together, cut folded side, wired point. This one's going to be 9.5 inches. And then twist, slide it in. We're going 5 inches for this one. So bringing it back over, making sure that ends right on that 5-inch mark. Same thing. Make sure. Wow, I really thought I was right on the money with that one. Guess not. I was like, how could I be so far off? There's that. Thank you so much, Diane, for doing the recap. The 2.5-inch cut to 14 inches, 1.5-inch cut to 19. Thank you. For Mom Reese made that suggestion that you could use E6000 to help with frays. You'll want to, it's an adhesive spray. Looks like this here. This is E6000 adhesive spray. you want to make sure it's a spray adhesive because E6000 makes a ton of products. This is clear, so when you're done with your design, or if you want to spray it on once your mesh base is finished, it's a pump sprayer, so you just spray it along the cut edges, and it helps to hold the frays in. But it, again, you know, it's not going to be 100%, that you're not going to experience any frays. So now we're doing our gingham. Let's put a fresh cut on this. Dovetail the end. I'm kind of looking. Yeah, I need to do that. I was like, kind of wanted that in between the green and the diagonal plaid, but I'm like, nope. We're dealing with too many different patterns next to each other. So this will bring a subtle tone to that. These are going to be 9-inch tails with 4.5-inch loops. Again, stretch it out. See where that falls. The same on the other side. I'm always twisting, and then I just place the twist inside the Bodabra. And then back out to 9 inches. Dovetail cut. And then we're doing our snowflake. This is from Joann's. This was like back in 2019. So here's one of those discontinued ribbon rolls. This one's going to be 8.5 inches. And then the loop size is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be 4.5 on this one. So bringing it down. Because I've already measured the bottom one, I can just put my fingers in the top and then just kind of pull. So those are both equal. Doing the same here on this side. Pull. And then we're still going to measure our tail though, to make sure that stays at 8 inches. Nope, 8.5. It's 8.5, 8, and then 7.5. So on the tails, they start at 10 inches and come down a 1/2 inch every single time. What this yields by following the recipe is if you measured this bow from the loops, not the tails, it's going to yield a 11-inch in diameter bow. I think if you do the tails, then it's 20 inches. But sometimes people like to change the length of their tails. So this one's going to be 8 inches. Twisting up and around, this is going to be 4 inches for the loop length. Okay, up and around, twist. I have a feeling that one needed to get adjusted, and I'm glad I did because it's at 4, and this one ends at 8. Okay, that one is done. Last one, what I call our sweater print, and that's from Joann's. This is discontinued now. This tail length will be 7.5 inches, and our loop length is 3.5. So 7.5 in, twist. Flip it. I don't know why I started flipping my Bodabra, but it works for me. You know, I've had people go, oh, you must be left-handed. No, I'm right-handed. It's just something I do. My husband says I do it so that my ribbon is not tangled. It's just something that evolved organically. 3.5. Back out. 7.5. There we go. And that one is finished. I've been really disappointed by the local retailers this year on their ribbon selection. So I don't know if it's just my store, but I have not been impressed at all. I wasn't impressed with Hobby Lobby's selection. They had one or two that were new, but everything else was a couple years old, and they have less of it than they have in the past. I was trying to think, have I been to Joann's? I went to Michael's, not impressed, and usually Michael's impresses me pretty good. But I have not been to Joann's. So we're picking the whole thing up. I always use pipe cleaner because my hand strength is not what it was when I was much younger. So I'm going to lift just like you're holding your club sandwich. I always say it's a club sandwich because I always make them bigger. Pipe cleaner right down over the top. We're going to hold. I just like give it one little twist, and then I just twist my stack in opposite directions. Gonna get my fluff board. Ugh. I never just position this, so I just pick it up and flip it. I always end up having to make corrections. So this is just a 24 by 24 by 1 inch thick piece of wood that somebody, a friend of ours, designed for us. Obviously you can see it's got some damage from the heat and the cold here. That's how drastic the temperatures are. And so the wood, even though it was glued under pressure, has started to separate. So it just reminds me that things can still look beautiful even though we're under pressure. So I'm going to take my C-hook, which is 1.5 inch to 2 inch C-hook. I just screw it into the bottom. It's just the cup hooks. And I'm going to look to kind of loop right underneath my pipe cleaner. So I just kind of slide that right underneath. And as you can see right now, it's hooked. So all it does is just prevent it from sliding off the board. And so we're going to do separate. So first we separate and then we fluff. So this is top stack, bottom stack. And I start from the bottom ribbon. So I'm going to take my loop, and it doesn't matter if you do the loop first or the tail first. You just want to make them opposite. So if we have the loop here, then the tail has to go off to the right. So left and then right. Go back to your bottom stack, lift it up, find that same ribbon, and you're going to go opposite. So the tail went to the right. So here it's going to go to the left, and then our loop is going to go to the right. So if I pick these up, you'll see tails are directly opposite, loops are directly opposite of both stacks. And now we're just going to do the opposite. So we started with our loop here. We're going to bring our loop to the right, tail to the left. You can see how they kind of fall in place. Go back over to the other side. Move your tail around. And then I'm moving my loop around. So now they are alternating loops and tails. So this is kind of what I call layer 1. Layer 2 will be the next 2 ribbons down. So I'm just going to go follow the existing pattern. So loop and then tail. Go back to the other side. Here's my tail. Here's my loop. I'm going to switch that one. Making sure. Oh, there we go. Okay. Then we're doing our green follow through. If you're not sure what you're doing down here, just look for the opposite. Okay, we're going opposite the tail, going opposite the loop. Okay, now we're doing the last row, the last layer. We're following back over here again. Here's that and that. Loop, tail. Okay, then we have loop. There's the tail. Here's our loop. Here's the tail. So now we've got all the tails confined and we have all the loops confined. This just makes it so much easier when you're designing or placing your sign to know where are all my tails going to fall rather than mix them up in here. Because if we take our sign and we place our sign underneath, you can kind of, you know, maneuver things around and look at your design for how those are going to work. And then knowing where your loops are, you pretty much have your design already laid out. So that's why, oops, that's why we did it this way. So now we're going to fluff. So we're just going to start from the top. We're going to lift the top 2 on the top stack. Then we're going to lift the bottom 2. Okay, and you really want, like, and this is the reason why the C-hook works really good, is you can pull up on those fairly well. Here you just need to decide as a designer, do you want the snowflakes in between these and have the gingham come out to the side, or would you rather have this come out to the side and have your gingham in between? I kind of like the way it's just naturally kind of going. So you just rotate your ribbons around. We're going to open this one up. We're going to add our gingham here. And then our outside, same thing. So this will fall in between these 2 colors, but at its own level. This one's going to fall probably in between those 2. Then do the same on your bottom stack. Like, really lift them. You want them to be 3D, not one-dimensional. Okay, just like that. And then you get to play around and decide, how do you want that all to present? You know, what do you want to wear? And then for the tails, to put the little curl back in them, you're just going to run them through your finger. They'll just automatically go back into that curl. Just like curling ribbon, but without the scissors. We're just using our fingers. Same thing all the way down. You don't notice it as much on the 2.5, but it will once we're on the wreath. And you can just play around with it. Like if you were taking a picture, I would make sure you could see all the different layers of all the different ribbon that is there. So you can see them all. And there we go. And that is your perfect bow. And this is why the fluff board was designed this way, so that it is strictly for making it super easy, but it looks really nice when you're taking photos of your bows. I have a nice way of presenting that. So we're going to go ahead and take that off. That's all ready to put on our wreath. And now we're going to add our sign. Add the bow, and then we'll embellish. So we need, here's our wreath. We're going to add our sign right in the center, maybe a little bit slightly on the lower side. So probably right there. This will be our bow home. So I'm going to put holes in my sign right here. I always prefer my signs to have no holes, because sometimes I put them in the corners, sometimes I put them on the edges, sometimes I put them on the sides, like now, and sometimes I put them top and bottom. So I've just added holes to that. I'm going to go ahead and add my business card, because Pam was nice enough to add hers so that I know where I purchased these from. So I'm going to come in and add my business card, so the client will know where did they purchase the wreath from. So right here, right over the top. So then, because we have that opening in our wreath, you can see that clearly. I've been asked by clients to please do that so that they know where they have found them, who they purchased them from. I'm using floral wire, especially on fabric mesh, because they get caught up in all those fabric threads if I use a pipe cleaner. This just makes it easier. So this is 22 gauge floral wire from Michaels. You can buy it in a big old spool like this. That's 190 feet. It lasts you for quite a while. And then we're simply going to add our floral wire to our sign. and I build from the back, which means right now most people probably pull their floral wire or their pipe cleaners out to the side. That makes for a spinner. If you do it over the back, over the hole, your wire's not seen, and it lays flat, so your wire's underneath coming up and not out the sides. So you simply just twist right over your hole. So there's 1, there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. That gives me about a 1/4 inch gap, so it doesn't sink all the way in the inside. Same thing on the opposite. We are going to build over our hole, and that's exactly what it means. You're just twisting your wire right over the hole. Just kind of adding a layer upon a layer, and now we're all set and ready to go. Let me look. Okay. Dawn says tree goes up Thanksgiving Day while the kids are here to help decorate. It's nice to do things as a family. I love that. I really do. I think we had that this year. Our my oldest came here for Christmas. I'm just like looking at where do I want to place this. I generally look for little gaps in the bows. Like these are sections together. These are the 2 in a individual section. So I try to plan it like this, but remember we want to go down a little bit, not much. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to pull them forward. Looky there, there's a pipe cleaner. So that just makes it super simple. So I'm gonna pull the mesh that's in front, not the mesh that center one is on. I need to go around. I was in the same spot. So I need to go around the rail. So I'm gonna pull these back just like this. I'm gonna push this down to the level I want my sign to sit at. Once it's there, I'm gonna start the twisting. I just twist once because there's been more than one time that I have to readjust my signs. So pull back your mesh. Whoop. And then do the same on the other side. Trying to make sure, there we go, that we have a wire, 1 on each side, pulling this mesh forward. Gonna pull it down right there. Couple of twists. Okay. So there we go. Now, right here, because this is where a bow's gonna go, I'm gonna take my mesh and tuck it underneath. Because if I don't, this mesh, my ribbon will want to stay on wherever the edge of that mesh is. So I want to make sure it does not push up my loops where I want it to sit more close to the sign. So I'm going to do that right here at the side so that this will not pull up or push up my loops. Might end up, see, these are those little ragged edges. I'm going to take probably this half, tuck that under, just like that. I still have this edge down here, which is more than fine. So let's put our bow in and then we'll dress the sign. So I like how we have our 2, 2.5. I like it to corner the sign, which means I have one going across the top, the other going across the bottom. So I'm going to pull these away so we can make that happen. So pretty much right there. Need to find my other leg of my pipe cleaner. And then we are going to pull that down into our frame. This is probably the easiest that I've ever gotten my mesh in. So I just usually push my bow down to the level I need it to stop at. And then I'll twist until it's secure. And then we're going to just fluff. See what I'm saying is this mesh right here is causing the ends of my ribbon to push up where I want them to just lay flat over that area. So we are going to make sure that it is centered. We can actually make some slight adjustments by pulling it towards the outside so that we can see all the words. And then we'll just refluff everything. And there we go. You can pull this one down so it borders that perfectly. I'm going to take this corner mesh right here. We're going to tuck it back under. This is that side piece that's trying to get in the way of what I don't want there. And then the rest of the mesh, we're just going to feather the edge, which just means along that harsh edge here, we need to bring our mesh to where it just kind of lightly lays over the top. And grab this one in the front. Just pull your ribbons forward. If this is too much, go down from the bottom. And just trying to tuck some of it under, not all of it, just some. There we go. This one piece, I'm going to lift this sign up on the end because I think it's just trending too low. So we'll bring it up just a bit. There we go. Okay, now we can do that. Same thing, just find the mesh that you like, that has the edges you'd like, and just kind of let that just frame your sign. Go ahead and fix all your ribbon tails that you may have smashed, reallocated as we work our way around. Just like that. So this is what it looks like thus far. I'm trying to get rid of that overhead weird light. Why do we have that? It's just doing this weird thing. Let's see. There we go. So we're back up here. So that is the design, and now we're going to embellish it, the favorite part. Joanne says, been busy with interior decorating, so I haven't had much time to decorate Christmas yet. I've waited 5 years to have structural work done, so I didn't have interest in Christmas for the last 4 years. Hope this year is different. I do too. And let's see what else. Hi, Melanie. Hi, Deborah. You're welcome about the wreath or the bow explanation. Thank you, Karen. She says your wreaths are always so beautiful and you teach so good too. Well, I used to be a corporate trainer. I was a corporate trainer for 5 years at a large communications company in which we had to teach people how to communicate when they would take calls into the call center. So making sure that people are all on the same page, mission critical. Okay, so let's embellish. What are we using? Well, we're looking towards the sign for some inspiration. So we have these picks And I believe these are from Factory Direct Crafts. I have to look them up, but they have on them, there's that gingham. We have pit berries. We have rusted bells. We have bigger berries. We have pine cones. We have some faux pine branches. Again, pit berries. All the way up to the top, and then we have a metal star. So this pick is great because we're going to be incorporating those elements into this design. So let me show you what we're going to do. Don't need that in there. Okay, so I am going to break this pick down, and it comes in, I guess it's got a top part and a bottom part. So I'm going to pull all the pine branches out first. 1, 2, 3. Let's see how many we get. Here's some bigger ones. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is perfect. Okay, so I just cut the pine branches out from them. There we go. I'm going to use the longer pieces. These are wired all the way down. So we're going to stick a couple up in our bow because we've got the pine sprigs in here. We need to have pine sprigs in here. So I'm going to take the largest pieces and put those in. These are actually going to go top and center. And then we're going to incorporate some in the bottom pieces. So like the shorter ones are going to go right next to our crimson or burgundy colored berries. So we're going to be adding one of these just to the side of each of those. So there, here, we have one here, and then we've got one under the bow. So I'm going to go ahead and start attaching these. I'm just gluing them on with hot glue, tucking them right to the side of our bow, but allowing those to kind of come forward. Let's show you. So they're going to the center. So when I'm attaching them, they're going just to the side, but then pulling back to the front. So I'll show you how this one will go. We're going just to the side, but then pulling back in the front. So that little, it's kind of, it makes it look like the berry has a little bit of, like it's a mistletoe look, I guess. So I'm going to take this one, tuck it underneath. Same thing. Refluff the bow. That's my wire underneath that I have yet to trim. And I do all the trimming after. So to the side, but bring it down in front. To the side. But back down in front. Same thing here. I think this is the last pine branch. We're going to tuck that in. Again, bring it down so that it presents in the front. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and glue the couple that are up here in our bow. So we're probably going to go something like that so that they kind of look a little bit like what we're doing here. Glue in the ends. I'm just lifting the loops and placing those right in the center of our bow. Lift the loop right in the center, just like that. And then we are going to pull down all the rest of the stuff. We have these really pretty cranberry and orange berries. We just have 2 of each, so those are going to go in our bow. So I'm just pulling these out. So this one's got a wayward arm. Go ahead and remove that. I'm going to actually put the berries together. We're going to wire them just like that. And we're going to glue these right on top of our pine sprigs. Same spot. There's our berries. Got one for the other side. I'm just trying to make them to where they look like they went together. Kind of fan them out a little bit. You guys know me, I'm all about making my own picks. This one will go down in here so that that pairs well with that. And then we have our pip berries. So I'm going to see how many of these we actually have. So we're going to try. This one seems like it's wrapped really tight. So let's see if we can get it to give way here. Because all those picks were so nicely wrapped with that brown paper. So I'm going to see if we can make some headway here. Normally they pull down pretty easy. There we go. Okay. Trying to get, this is what it was. They had them all. So I don't like to see pipberry ends like that. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to add these. Same thing to our greenery. Going around the back side, just like our pine branch was, and pulling the berries in the front. Here we go again. Back around the front. Trying to make sure my paper doesn't fall off of those. So back around, pull them to the front. So we have berries and pine. Here's this one. I'm looking at like, where's that one need to go? Okay, back around, right back in the front. Okay, let's see if we can get, I think we need 2 more. Let's see if we can get 2 more from this. There we go, there's 1 and 2. So see how far that pick has taken me? I can actually get quite a bit from it. Right there. Trying to remove my glue as I go. Back to the front. And then we have our metal bell, but I don't think I'm going to use that in here. I thought about maybe putting it inside the bow, but I think I'm going to, let's look at the pine cone. Do we want to incorporate the pine cone in the center? We could, but we have metal. Are there any pine cones in the design? I'm not seeing them, but we do have a metal star. So we can put our metal star in here. Like we can put it up in here. So I'm just going to add it into this pick mix right there. Let that dry. And then let's take a couple more of the pip berries down here so that I can truly actually use everything in it. Well, except for the bell. Also, save the bell for a different design. So we'll add some pip berries in there. Last one here. I think I have like 4 pip berries left, but I'm okay with not having to incorporate every little thing. Look, I like them, but I'm like thinking I want one on each side. There we go. So I have like one streaming out this way. So I want one out the other side. And then the same. And then we just have 2 left. But I'll just tuck those in with the bell, and those will get used on a different design. So now we have the pip berries, 1 on each side, and these we'll save for a different design. But there is our design. It is completely finished. Let's pivot you guys up so you can see what it looks like on the door. Hello all. Let's see. I'm trying to give it so you can see it is a full-size door for the outside. Let's set this one down. And there is the top. Again, for pictures, make sure, because I see this happen far too many times, is you only get a chance to sell your wreath by 1 photo. So you want that photo to be the very best photo that you take, and so make sure all of your ribbons, all the tails are straight, nothing's folded, everything is in focus. That's usually a good one, I find. Pictures out of focus. There we go. Making sure. And I don't like to see glue threads in my photos. So black doors or darker doors will show all those imperfections, because you don't want it to look like you had spider webs unless you're creating for a Halloween theme. But I think, and we will make sure our bow sits where it's supposed to sit, and we are all good. What do you guys think? Did we do it justice? Aw, thanks, Deborah. Said beautiful for Mom's Wreath. Says beautiful. Cheryl says this is so gorgeous. I love the country design. So do I. So, and country elements will feature a lot of muted tones, pip berries, raffia, rusted bells, rusted stars, rusted jingle bells, because I know Hobby Lobby sells the rusted jingle bells in a set. But just a lot of very soft toned down elements. No glitter generally, but yeah, very simple, soft. And I think the message is perfect because it's pretty much exactly what it is, that love is the heart of Christmas. So there you have it. Any questions I can answer for you? Christine says, I like this one very much. See, I'm a country girl, so I like country everything. Country patriotic or Americana. I like the country Christmas. I like the country look throughout. So this kind of falls under that rustic look. Not so much primitive. It kind of has different primitive elements. But I mean, you could have come in with raffia and added some raffia to it as well. And that would have really enhanced the overall feel. Okay, everyone. Well, thanks for joining me. This will go to replay automatically when it's finished. So if you needed to catch that, that's where it's going to be. Private group, if you're interested in joining it, pinned down to the bottom. For YouTube subscribers, or if you're catching this on a replay, I will put the link in the description box if you guys want to head on over there and do that. That's pretty much all I have. So thank you for joining me, and don't forget, keep creating. Bye for now, everyone.